Hey everybody, with Halo Infinite's campaign less than 1 week away, you guys asked me some questions from the last Halo Infinite open world video that I'm going to answer in this video. Playing in the background is going to be some Halo Infinite Legendary gameplay, and that's going to be the first question we start off with. So the first question we have is from Will Ramsey, and he asks, how hard is Legendary compared to other Halos? Are we talking closer to Halo 3 Legendary or Halo 2 Legendary? Now from what I have played, it feels closer to a Halo Combat Evolved Legendary. Not as brutal as Halo 2, not as easy as Halo 3, but if you burn through enough ammo, you'll be okay. And some specific parts of the campaign are going to be very difficult, but for the most part, you'll probably get through it with no problem. That said, I think Lasso will be very difficult, not as hard as Halo 2, but much more challenging. The next question comes from Zhong Yang, and I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name. He asks, can you remove the red X when you kill an enemy? And I guess you mean hit markers as well. No, you can't turn hit markers off. I checked the settings before I made this video, and unfortunately they're in the game and they're there to stay. I guess that boils down to the whole Microsoft wanting to do more accessibility. So I guess people with disabilities or visually impaired, it gives them a nice little way to know their bullets are actually hitting the target. The next question comes from Cheese is Good. He asks, how hard is to find collectibles in Halo Infinite? And it kind of depends. Some collectibles are very easy to find, others I think are going to be very, very difficult. On the whole, I wouldn't make it any harder than Halo 3 ODST's collectibles, but there are a lot to get. Next up we have a question from Shihan, and he asks, since we don't have levels type of linear storyline, are the main story missions replayable or are they just one-time missions? And I actually found out that after you complete a mission, you cannot replay it. And it really bugged me. The first couple missions are more traditional Halo linear storyline. And then once you hit Zeta Halo, the actual exploration, you can't actually go back to those areas from the first couple missions. Of course, one is a banished ship, so that makes sense. But when I go back into the menus, it actually doesn't give me the option to select mission at all like the past Halo games did. I have to select new game. The biggest problem I have with this is, say you miss a skull or a collectible from the first two missions. That means you cannot get 100% gameplay completion. So you have the bar that says say 10% or 20% complete, and it's based on you performing actions on Zeta Halo. So I think that's going to annoy a lot of people if they can't get 100% and they get everything on the ring, and then they can't go back and replay the missions that they've previously missed stuff on. And they're going to have to replay the whole game again to get those last couple things they missed. Next up we have AJX7, and he asks, can you get ammo for plasma weapons? So like if I get a special one from a boss, do I only get one gun use? That's a very good question. Yes, you can get plasma weapons. So say you get a plasma carbine, it gets down to 2%, and you walk over a different plasma weapon, you don't actually have to pick it up anymore. You just automatically recharge the battery, which I think is a great quality of life feature. As for the special ones, because there's special weapons you can get from bosses, once you actually get that weapon, it'll be in your FOB, your forward operating base, and you can call it in as much as you like. So in the preview, in the first 4 missions, there's 2 weapons you can get from bosses, or I guess mini bosses, and they weren't hard to kill. The grunt was like a one-shot headshot. But he dropped a special plasma pistol, and every time I go back to the forward operating base, I can call in that pistol. I guess that means any weapon as the game progresses, you'll be able to just call it in at will. Next up we have a question from Lil Legend 769, and he says, is there a fall height death like in previous Halos when you fall for a certain time distance and just instantly die? No, there is absolutely no fall damage or fall death timer in Halo Infinite whatsoever. The only way you will die from actually falling is if you fall off the edge of the ring. And what I will say about the edge of the ring, which is probably going to annoy a lot of people, is what I was able to play was a small segment, a small chunk of the map. And there were still holes in the ring in that area. If you tried to jump over that hole or even grapple over that hole, or tried to drive a vehicle over that hole, once you hit the middle of the hole in the ring, it will kill all of your momentum and drag you down to your death. You can't save it with a grapple hook. The grapple will automatically break when you attach it to a wall, and I really hope that is fixed. JCab has the next question, and they ask, does the campaign reward you with multiplayer armor or just coatings and other consumables? I think it's both armor and coatings. I haven't seen any other consumables yet, and I don't even think that what I've unlocked so far, because it's obviously a different build, not the public build, has linked to my actual official account yet. I'm not even sure what they look like at this stage, but I'm hoping they look really good. Next up, we don't have a question per se, but there's something I really wanted to add on to this. Tyler says, I'm curious what 343 Industry has planned for the Xbox S and X consoles. I assume they will drop support over the next couple of years. At that point, does Halo Infinite get a graphical update on the Series X and S? And I really hope it does. There's a lot of extra features that I'm sure will get modded into the PC version of the game. Like, you know how Skyrim gets graphical mods and all that stuff. But I'd really like to see weather effects, extra details added in, and blood and gore would be awesome if I could add that in as well. We've got to keep in mind they're running on very old hardware, so if they weren't having to run on, say, the old Xbox One S and X consoles, there's a lot more little things that probably would have made it into the game. As a little side note, all these little things that I mentioned about the campaign will probably be fixed by mods, and it'd be awesome to see them get pushed onto the Xbox Series X and S at a later date once those PC mods do come out. We also have to keep in mind there's the co-op update coming out, and that co-op update might bring a lot of little quality of life changes that answer everybody's wish list with the campaign. Next we have iWindod, who says, one concern I have is that previous campaigns have been linear and therefore more immersive. Do you feel immersed in the story, albeit with the short time you've had on the story so far? And yes, honestly, it almost brought me to tears playing it for the first time, and that says a lot. I think despite it being an open world or semi-open world game, that it doesn't feel disjointed or anything, and if you're just following on the main story and just treating it like a classic Halo campaign experience, it has that same energy or aura about it. It still captures what made the Halo's campaigns special. It's no different to, say, Halo CE, the second mission Halo, where you're saving the Marines and you have multiple objectives you can go to at any time, when you have to save the 3 different pods of Marines. It's like that, but on a larger scale. Finally, and I answered this last video, but it got a lot of upvotes and a lot of people asked it, so I'm just going to reiterate it. Battery Surf asks, are the Halo Deers and Halo Rhinos in the game? And from what I've seen, no, I have not seen any so far. Again, that would probably come down to the original Xbox One and the hardware limitations of doing a massive game on such old hardware. But that's going to wrap it up for today's video, guys. If you have any more questions that you'd like to see me answer, we're getting very close to the release of Halo Infinite's campaign, and I'm so excited to show you the things I've been working on. But yeah, leave me a comment if you want me to answer anything else. Again, the gameplay you were watching was legendary gameplay, and I feel like some parts will be challenging, other parts will be easy, but there's honestly so many like ammo banks that let you refill kinetic weapons or shock weapons or plasma weapons that I don't think you're going to run out of ammo. And I've noticed when you complete a mission and start a new mission, you start that mission with the weapons you finished from the old one. So you're going to be mindful about what weapons you take across, and because you don't have to be sparing with ammo, I think that'll make it a lot easier. But thank you all so much for watching, hopefully you all enjoyed today's video, and I will see you guys later.